so much for joining us this afternoon or this evening. My name is Ana Covarrubias. I am your graduate student recruiter here at UTRGV. And joining me today is Mr. Jose Rodriguez. He is a graduate program coordinator for this Master of Fine Arts in Creative Writing. And we also have our department chair, Ms. Emmy Perez. So thank you so much for being here. And before we begin, let me just give you a quick overview about GoToWebinar, just a quick example. If you have any questions with GoToWebinar, this is where you're gonna start, or you're gonna write your questions here on the chat. You don't have an option to open your camera, so make sure that, or unmute yourself. So make sure that if you have any questions right now or later, make sure that you include those questions at the end, and we're going to read them out loud and answer that for you. I would post any requested links right there in the chat where you're going to see all the different information. And if you have any more questions at the end, you can always follow up with me, and I'll be more than happy to assist you. So this evening, this is what we're going to be covering. We have a little about us, why UTRGV, how to apply, funding opportunities, and then questions at the end. If you already have a question in mind, it's a good idea to just include them right now in the chat, so that way at the end, I can just read them out loud. So let me go to the next one. This is just a little bit about our institution. We have more than 96 years of storied educational history. And combining our undergraduate, or graduate, and our medical students, we have a total of around 32,000 students. Our student population, it's growing, we keep growing. And we are an accredited institution dating back to our two legacy institutions, the University of Texas Pan American and the University UT Brownsville, the University of Texas in Brownsville. So now, like I mentioned, we are a growing student community. So we have around 63 masters right now, 11 doctoral programs, and more than 40 options for certificate programs that you can combine with a master or a PhD program. So if you're looking into more options besides your master program, you can also look at the certificates, and you're going to find that information in our website, utrgv.edu/gradapply. So something that we're very proud of, it's our rankings and our recognitions. We've been named #1 university in Texas by Washington Monthly for 3 years. This is our 3rd year with that recognition. We are also #1 university in Texas for lowest net price, which is very important if you're thinking about or looking at your different options. And if you want to find a good institution and an affordable institution, we are a good option for you. We are top 10 best online colleges in Texas for anything related to online degrees. We also have online options, and we have our traditional options, which I'm going to talk about right now. So for the mode of delivery, at least for this program, which is our Master of Fine Arts in Creative Writing, this is a traditional program. So a traditional program means that it's a regular 16-week long semesters, regular semesters, fall and spring. If you want to do a full-time enrollment, you have to be enrolled in 9 credit hours, which is 3 courses per semester. If you want to do your master program normally as you do with that full-time enrollment, it would be completed in 2 years approx, depending on how many courses you take per semester, of course. And if you later want to continue with a doctoral program, the time would vary depending on the doctoral program. So now let me go to the next one. Now let me pass the mic to Mr. Jose Rodriguez or Miss Emmy. So they're going to talk about a little bit about their program in creative writing.
Yes, thank you so much, Ana, for having us. I'm going to talk just a little bit to brag about our faculty and our alumni, and then I'll pass it on to Jose. So you can see these are all of our creative writing faculty members. If you're interested in any MFA program, it's really important that you know who you would be studying with. So we have Britt Haraway, whose specialty is fiction. The same with Robert Moreira, fiction writing. I'm a poet. Jose's a poet as well, but he also writes memoir and literary translation. Stephen Schneider is also a poet, and Eric Miles Williamson primarily focuses on fiction writing. We have 2 affiliate faculty members. They're not based in our department, so they don't always teach classes for us, but Elvia Ardelani teaches in Spanish in the Spanish department, and all of her creative writing classes count for our MFA degree. So if you get a chance to look at our MFA course catalog, you can see that you can take workshops in English or Spanish. And then we also have David Bowles, who's an amazing writer, and he's in the Department of Literatures and Cultural Studies. And he frequently teaches young adult literature courses, and occasionally he'll teach a creative writing class for us. The great thing about having affiliate faculty is that they often serve on our thesis committees. So when the time comes for our students to prepare their book-length project, then they need 3 members on the thesis committee, and sometimes they chair them as well. So we're really grateful to have them. So we can go to the next slide. And here is a little mural that I made of some of our books. So as I mentioned before, any MFA program or any graduate program that you're looking at, you want to know who you're going to be studying with. So I'm not saying like go out and buy everybody's books or anything, but you might want to Google folks and look up their bios, see who you would be studying with, get a glimpse of their writing and see, hey, you know, not that they're going to try to make you into mini us, you know, we're not going to try to say, oh, you have to write exactly like us, not like that at all. It's just to kind of get an idea of the kind of work that we write, because of course it's going to influence the way that we teach. And we can go to the next slide. So in addition to the faculty that we have here, every year we try to bring visiting writers to our campus. And you can see on the next slide that we have a list of many people who have come in the past, like maybe 5 or so years. There are more, and this is just a brief list. I'm really proud that we were able to bring the US Poet Laureate at the time, Ada Limon. We've also brought a number of Texas Poets Laureate, and we've brought not only poets, but fiction writers and literary agents and folks from all over the country. So this really helps because sometimes they will give like a 1-day writing workshop. They'll share their work, and sometimes we have folks talking about how to publish your work. And I think that it can be really inspiring for students to hear from other writers besides us. And we can go to the next slide. And I love to brag about our alumni. And so I'm just going to show on the next 2 slides a couple of the books that have been published, not all of them, by our alumni. And you're going to also see like a list on the bottom of some people who are teaching. Not everybody who earns an MFA goes on to teach. A couple of the folks here, you see they have doctorates. They went after the MFA to earn a doctorate. However, an MFA degree is a terminal degree, meaning that that qualifies you to teach at the university and college level. So you're going to see on this list that we have some folks teaching all over the country. We also have Amalia Ortiz, who's the theater arts director at SACE in San Antonio. We have about 10 MFA graduates teaching at South Texas College. I just looked and counted them. Hopefully that's more or less correct. And then we have about 10 MFA graduates either teaching full-time or part-time as lecturers at UTRGV. And we can go to the next slide. And here's another slide with a bunch of the books written and published by our alumni. As I mentioned before, the goal of an MFA program, of course, is to work on a creative writing book manuscript. And so the goal is for some people, not everyone, to try to publish it as a book when they are done with the program. And some people actually publish while they're in the program. But here's just a selection. And we can go to the next slide. And continuing on my bragging of the alum, here are some of the prizes and honors that some of them have received. We just had Julieta Corpus was named the Poet Laureate of the city of Donna, Texas. Daniel Garcia Ordaz and Rodney Gomez have both been McAllen Poets Laureate. And as you can see from this list, that many of them have won book prizes. Amalia Ortiz won an American Book Award from the Before Columbus Foundation, which is a really great honor for her work. You can see TEDx talks by both Daniel Garcia Ordaz and Amalia Ortiz on YouTube. I encourage you to Google their names. Rodney Gomez, who's there in the bottom right-hand corner, he won a couple of years ago our college's Outstanding Alumnus Award. He was the first one to win it. As you can see in the list, he's won National Endowment for the Arts Poetry Fellowships and awards from the Academy of American Poets. And we can go to the next slide. And I hope that this little collage kind of shows how active our students are in presenting their work. You're going to see a couple of poets behind the mic over here, and then to the left, you'll see that we have a what we call an MFA, kind of a culmination event where our students, before they graduate, they read some of their work. And then we started the tradition of doing a hooding ceremony. So you're going to see in the upper left-hand corner our very first hooding ceremony. And then you're going to see down in the middle Magdalena Perez, and as she's walking the stage with her MFA degree. And we can go to the next slide. I'm going to pass it over to Jose Rodriguez, who is going to talk about how to apply to our program.
Thank you, Emmy. Thank you, Anna. Welcome, everyone. Right, so I'll talk a little bit about the general outline of our program. It is a 48-hour program, which translates to about 16 classes, 16 courses. Out of those, 6 of them are thesis courses. I'll talk about that in a second. And then, so that means it's 14 more traditional kind of classes over a 2.5-year period or longer, something like that, depending, of course, on how often, how many hours you take a semester. But the bulk of those hours are workshop courses, or I shouldn't say the bulk, I should say the largest. The courses, those courses are grouped into several areas, and generally, I'm simplifying, generally it's 3 areas. The first is workshops, and those are courses where where your instructor helps you to generate actual new creative material in the different genres, where you actually write short stories or poems or essays or anything like that, and it is shared within the class, and you get feedback. That's the general workshop model. And then the second group of courses is what's called more like reading courses, which are more traditional seminar courses, where you read and you study great works of literature. Some of those courses we teach ourselves within the program, and some of those courses you can take from the English or the Spanish department, literature courses. A few of those hours you can do that. And then again, I'm simplifying, but the last section is the thesis section, which is your last 6 hours, and that is a unique kind of one-on-one course with a professor who guides you and helps you in your completion of a book-length work of literature. And that takes about a year, so it's 2 classes, right? Ideally, you've already generated a lot of writing in your workshops and stuff, so that by the end of these last 6 hours, thesis hours, you're a combination collating some of that you've written in your workshop classes, and then maybe adding a little bit of new stuff and revising, again, working with one-on-one with a professor. And that culminates in a sort of committee meeting where a group of us look at your and talk about it and have a conversation around your thesis. And so that's very generally how it's set up. We, of course, we're available all along the way if you have questions. I'm the graduate program coordinator, so I help students sort of look at their degree plan and try and figure out the best way of choosing the classes, for each semester, and being intentional about that. There are some summer courses, summer options sometimes. Most of our courses, of course, are in the fall or the spring semester, and I will say they are mostly once a week. Meetings are once a week for the courses, and usually in the evening, because they're designed mainly for working professionals. A lot of our students, a good number of our students, are grade school teachers in the community. So so they certainly so anyway, that's why the courses are designed to meet either like 5-ish or 7-ish, usually 5-ish, once a week. I think that's all safe for now. You can see there on the slide the different kinds of genres of work that you can work on while you're part of the program. Some students already know what genre they want to work on when they apply to the program, and some of them don't, and they sort of figure it out the first couple of semesters that they're here, try a couple of different genres, and then see which one they gravitate towards. I think you can move the slide. Here's a little bit of general information about how to the things we require as far as application materials. Before I get into them, I will say that we are just about nearing the deadline to apply for the spring semester. We do admit students both semesters, in the spring and the fall. So the deadline to be admitted for the spring semester is around probably within the next 10 days or so. And then the deadline to be admitted for the fall semester is further into 2026 in this case. But if you want to be considered for graduate assistantships, which is a kind of university employment, part-time employment that supplements and that is organized around the program, then that deadline to be considered for those assistantships is March 1st, and that's the deadline for every fall admission for consideration for those assistantships. If you're not interested in those assistantships, you're just interested in the program, then the deadline is, of course, way further down. But generally speaking, the materials we accept are quite traditional for an MFA program. There's a personal statement that's maybe a page to 2 pages long, double spaced, where you tell us a little bit about yourself, your relationship to writing, and why you're interested in our MFA program. The other also very important element is 3 letters of recommendation, ideally from former professors or current professors, but we also accept recommendations from professionals, people that you've worked with in employment or that were your supervisors or anything like that. We discourage letters of recommendation from family members. And then the most important piece of material, of application material, is your writing sample. So you have to turn in a writing sample of your best creative writing that you have so far. not research writing, creative writing. So about 20 pages of prose. So that would be essays or screenwriting or fiction, and or about 10 pages of poetry. And that's really sort of what we look at to see to gauge whether we think the student has potential and would be successful in our program. And let me see. I think that's mainly it. We don't require the GRE, and just wanted to point that out. I have had students ask me about that in the past. I think the GRE is slowly falling out of favor. Anna, maybe you can.
Yeah, no, that's a very
Yeah.
popular question actually, and yes, we do not require the GRE, and we're not planning to bring it back. So make sure that for the students, make sure that you take advantage of that, because some programs do still require GRE. Right now,
Yes.
for at least for this application, it's not required.
Thank you. We also sometimes, I know that the second item there on the slide says undergraduate GPA of at least 3.0 in the last 60 semester credit hours. There's a wiggle room there. Again, the most important thing is the writing sample, the personal statement, and the letters of recommendation. So there's some flexibility there if you're not quite at 3.0. I think that's it for that slide. Is there another one? Oh, okay. So I am the editor-in-chief. I sort of manage a literary journal that our program publishes every year, once a year online. It's an online journal, literary journal, which means we publish fiction and poetry and essays and a few other things from throughout the nation. We get submissions online from writers throughout the nation, and me and a team of other people select the best work, and then it's published. And we do not, of course, to maintain a sense of course, professionalism, we do not publish current students in this journal, but there are opportunities for some current students to help to serve as part of the team of River's Edge of the journal. So just be aware that might be, if you're interested, that might be something that we can work out as a reader, or maybe even as like a genre editor where you're looking at specific kinds of submissions. And that's it's a great source of pride for the program. It's a nationally known journal. We publish some really great work by some very good writers, and it's exciting, you know, to read. You get a chance, if you're a reader, you get a chance to read what the country's writing, right? The most up-to-date contemporary stuff that's being written out there, and you get a sense of what it means to submit work from the other end, where you're the one getting it, right? From writers much like yourselves, young writers who are either students or recent graduates who are sending their work out, hoping to get it noticed, you know, and get it in places like this. So I invite you to check us out at riversedgejournal.com. Our new issue just came out. It comes out around this time, usually around late October, early November. This year we were a little late. Online, and yeah, so it's available for y'all to enjoy. It also includes a bit of artwork from a visual artist. Every issue is a new artist, and anyway, so please visit that, and so you get an idea of that, what kind of work the program does in this way, which is a kind of, and this is the last thing I'll say, a journal within an MFA program is a way of serving the literary community, which is something we take very seriously, and giving a platform for other writers, and celebrating great contemporary writing. And then also, again, in some cases, if students are interested, finding a way to give them experience working with a literary journal. I think that's all I'll say.
Thank you. Yes. Okay, so this is mine. Thank you so much for the information, Professor Perez, Professor Rodriguez. Thank you. Thank you. So now that we have this information, now that we are ready to apply, now that we convinced them to start their application, this is the quick guide on how to start your application, and it's really easy, really fast, really straightforward. Like we mentioned, we already have the common application materials. This is just an example of what we ask for, but we already shared that information. Professor Rodriguez already shared that information with you. So let me go back. This is what we're going to need for your admission requirements. So make sure that you take a screenshot of this. Make sure that you know this information before or during your application process. You have to submit or upload all these documents for your application. So where do we start our application? You're going to go directly at utrgv.edu/grad-apply. You're going to go to that website and create your account. So if you don't have an account with that in that website, in that portal, you have to create a brand new account. You have to submit your required documents. The application process is 100% online, so we don't require anything in person. We just need everything to be submitted in that application that you're going to create. Your spring 2025 deadline would be for this traditional program will be January 5th. But please make sure that you submit everything before the deadline, before the holidays if possible. So that way when you come back, or when we come back, we already have your application and you're already accepted by the program. So for any international students, if anyone who is applying that it's from another country, or let's say that you did your bachelor's in another institution in another country, you have to do this additional steps. You're going to be doing your foreign credential evaluation. In this case, it can be WEST, FCSA, or Stantron. You have to evaluate that transcript. We have to check that transcript for you. We need an English proficiency exam with your different scores. It can be TOEFL, IELTS, or Duolingo, and your certified English translation of educational records. This is just if you are an international student or if you did your bachelor's in another country. Another important thing here. So remember how I mentioned about their website or portal. This is where you're going to see on your screen. You're going to go directly to the side where it says apply now as a first-time user. You're going to create your account, and the other one that says returning users is for when you are, let's say that you already create your application but you haven't submitted your documents. You have to log back in as a returning user. But the first step is to create your account as a first-time user. Let me go back a little bit. This is what you're going to see, like I mentioned, and then you're going to create your account. Make sure that you have, or that you create your account with your personal email. Do not use a school email, a work email. Make sure that you're using your personal, because sometimes we might lose access to that email, and we're going to be sending you updates on your application if you're missing documents, if you need to submit anything else. So please use an email that you have easy access to. Now that we have that information, now that we have created our application, let's talk a little bit about our cost of attendance. You're going to see in this chart, you're going to see the cost per let's say per traditional program. In this case, we're going to look at the first part on the top. We're going to see the traditional 16-week semester program. At least for this program, that's going to be the case for a traditional program. If you are a Texas resident, or a Texas resident, you're going to be paying, that's the cost per 3 credit hour course, which is 1 class, and that will be the cost per semester. If you are an international student or a non-resident, you're going to be looking at the second part where you see the cost per 3 credit hour and the cost per semester. So also keep that in mind whenever you start your application. Once you get accepted into your program, that's what you're going to expect to pay during your semester or for your classes. We also have funding opportunities for any qualified students. Like we mentioned, I heard that we mentioned about the assistantships. That's one of the funding opportunities that we have, that we offer. Keep in mind that it's very important to submit your application and be accepted into your program in order to qualify for most of these funding opportunities. So these are just examples. Financial aid, number one, financial aid. Yes, we do have financial aid available for grad students. So any applicant interested in financial aid will need first a clear admittance into your program. So you have to be accepted, you have to be enrolled. You need to be enrolled in at least 6 credit hours per semester, 2 classes per semester, in order to qualify for financial aid. You have to submit your FAFSA application at studentaid.gov, but make sure that you create a new application and that you mention that you are a grad student, not an undergrad, because that might be confusing sometimes. Just a quick reminder and friendly reminder, certificate programs do not qualify for financial aid, so this is mainly for your master, your complete grad program. Okay. We also have scholarships. We have different types of scholarships, and we have 2 websites where you can visit for those scholarships. So you can apply at utrgv.edu/apply scholarships or grad scholarship. So for that one, you're gonna go, and actually let me open that right here. Let me just to give you an example of what to expect. Let me see if I can open it. So when you go to utrgv.edu/grad scholarships, you're going to go directly to the website. You're going to find this website. It's going to take you directly to a portal. So you go learn more and start here. So this is going to take you to a portal called Scholarship Universe. So you're going to create your account. Same thing for this. You have to be accepted. You have to be enrolled in your courses. So make sure that you do that first. It's going to take you to this website, and you're going to see in the corner where it says login. You have to create an account for this, and it specifically has to be an account with your UTRGV email. Once you create your account, once you have that information, the system here will match you with the different scholarships that you might qualify for. So you can apply to more than one every semester to have an opportunity to get more than one scholarship every semester and pay for your classes. That's a good tip. That's something to take into consideration. Now let's go back. Now that I showed you this, we also have, okay. We also have our assistantships. Any available options can be found through your program coordinator, or if you're looking for specific assistantships, let's say related to what you are studying, or you can also visit another website. It's called careers.utrgv.edu. And let me open it actually. careers.utrgv.edu. So this is where you're going to see, this is where you can apply for those assistantships. Any available assistantships are going to show here, and it's like if you're applying to a regular job here at the university. So you're going to find all the different options here. As you can see, there are different types of assistantships. We have teaching assistantships, we have research assistantships, and of course our regular grad assistantships. So it would depend on what you're looking for and what you apply for. You also have to be accepted in order to apply for these assistantships. And once you apply, you're gonna you're gonna get interviewed. You're gonna be going through normal process, hiring process. This is basically a part-time job here at the university, and it's up to 20 hours per week. And the last but not least, we have our additional options. We have payment plans for traditional students. We have emergency loans for all programs, veteran benefits, and any type of continued education or employee benefits. So if you work for a company, if you work for, let's say, a school or any institution that offers any type of tuition reimbursement, we also accept that to make sure that you use that tuition reimbursement to pay for your classes. If you need financial aid assistance, this is the contact information for any questions or any additional information. You can contact Mr. Felipe Olivares. He's our Assistant Director for Financial Aid. So make sure that you save this information, save his email. If you have specific questions about financial aid or you're having trouble submitting that FAFSA application, he will be the best person to contact. And of course, our contact information, you're going to find my info there. If you have questions about the application process, if you're looking into other options, other master programs, any information related to grad programs, I'll be more than happy to help you. And I can help you submit that application as well. We have our graduate program coordinator, information professor, Jose Rodriguez. Here is the information right here. And we have our Office of Graduate Recruitment information. There's a number to call, a number to text, and an email address in case you have any related questions about anything. We'll be more than happy to help you as well. Okay, so let me see. We have more questions. I see that some questions are popping up right now.
I just wanted to mention that I was really glad, Anna, that you showed the graduate assistantship page, because it's important for applicants to know that we have a limited number of graduate assistantships. However, you will qualify for other ones. And so I did see one in the Department of Writing and Language Studies, and that looks like an active one. And we have a number of students who apply for those, and they teach first year composition. They learn, and which is really great. We also have some students who work in the Writing Center as tutors over the years. And one other thing is to look for work study and to ask for work study, because they don't automatically give you work study, in my understanding. I'm not a student, but what I've heard is that you have to ask when you apply for financial aid, ask the financial aid office if you qualify for it, because there are a number of work study positions on campus.
Yeah, there's actually a section in the when you're doing your financial aid application, your FAFSA application, there's a section where they ask, are you interested in applying for work study positions at the university? You have to check that box in order for you to qualify for those work study positions. So yes, it's very important to keep in mind that you can apply to any assistantships. Just because you're in a specific college doesn't mean that you just have to apply for those assistantships. You can apply anywhere. We also have general assistantships. Even our office, for example, for recruitment, we have a lot of student workers, graduate assistants who help us with presentations or with things like that. So yeah, you can apply to more than one assistantship, and I suggest doing that because sometimes we have limited spots like you mentioned.
Our assistantships, however, are only open to our MFA students. They have to be MFA because we have so few. So I just wanted to mention that, yeah.
Can I say a couple of things?
Yes,
Yeah.
of course.
Real quick, just a couple of things I forgot. One, some of the courses, graduate courses you can take can be from the Spanish department in Spanish. Also, there are a couple of faculty within our program, MFA program, who are bilingual, who allow our students, if they choose to write in Spanish. And so that's one thing. The other thing I wanted to say is that all our faculty are professional and published writers. And so I invite anyone interested in our program to go read our bios on our webpage, Creative Writing UTRGV, Creative Writing webpage. Read our bios, see what what we write, what we're into, and some of our work is available online, so you get a sense of what kind of writing your professors do, and sort of if your sensibilities line up, you know. Though of course we are open to all, you know, all different kinds of writing. I'm not a fiction writer, but that doesn't mean, of course, that I don't value it and love it. And sometimes I even get the chance to be a member of thesis committees that are fiction. But yeah, I feel like not enough students or not enough interested people know to do that. I'm not sure if it's just to go and read our bios and get a little bit of sense of who we are, and maybe find our work online. So anyway.
One other thing I want to mention is I don't know if we have any out-of-state applicants, but if you are out of state, there is a way that we can try to get you in-state tuition. So you just let us know in your cover letter, remind us, and ask for a very specific scholarship that we can look into for out-of-state applicants that might qualify you for in-state tuition.
Thank you. Well, I see some questions here right now, so let me read the first one out loud. There's one that says, what genres can students focus on within the MFA? Is it possible to work across multiple genres during the program?
Yes, we usually, here's how it usually goes. The average student is not sure what genre they want to work on when they apply. So they'll take a couple of workshops they'll take, say, a workshop in poetry, a workshop in fiction, a workshop in creative nonfiction. And then they get a sense of what they gravitate towards more, so that then they take more workshops in that one genre once they've decided that's their thing. The thesis is the final culmination of the book length project. Is usually in one genre. It's usually either a collection of essays or a collection of poems or a collection of short stories or a novel or something like that, right? There are exceptions sometimes made where we allow hybrid work that bring together more than one genre. But that's on it's on a case-by-case basis, right? That's where you have to work with your professor and flesh that out. But we recommend that you find out the main genre that you resonate with and take multiple workshops there. But there are no restrictions about you not being able to take workshops in different genres. If you'd like to do that, you're certainly welcome to as well. Yeah.
Yeah, what we recommend is, our courses are repeatable, many of them, because when you're taking a workshop, you're writing new work, and everybody has to write new work. And so the class essentially is always new. So that there's 5 workshops that you can take, and we really recommend that you try to take at least 3, although there's no rule that says you have to yet, to try to take at least 3 of those workshops in the genre that you're writing your thesis in, and then maybe you could dabble in a couple of other ones for the others. So that's what we recommend, just because by the time you get to thesis, you want to have some work written already, because sometimes what we see is that students might write the entire thesis during the thesis hours, and it's really a lot to do during that time. So
I can imagine. Okay, so I see another question. Thank you for the answers. Is the program flexible for students who work full-time? That's a good question.
Right. So we do a good number of our students are full-time workers, and so that is why our classes are taught in the evening and once a week, to make it easier so you don't have to come to campus too many times during the week. Flexibility, it's on a case-by-case basis. You know, if something comes up and your work keeps you from maybe being present for a class meeting, we certainly can work with that. If you, on the other hand, have a job, say that's a full-time job that is evenings, then maybe maybe this program isn't for you, because most of our classes, all our classes are in the evening, you know. So you have to be present. We do have some variety in the terms of the modalities of how we offer our classes. So there are a few classes that are online. There's even a few classes that are online asynchronous, which is basically a kind of discussion board based course. In that case, there is no once a week everyone together meeting, but that's only a few courses. Most of the courses require attendance, either in person or on Zoom. So so yeah, we definitely understand that job sometimes, you know, keeps us from attending a class meeting or two, but in general, you do have to be available.
So in that situation, if anybody's worried, we would probably recommend not taking full time, like not trying, you know, right away to take 9 credit hours. Maybe try with 1 class or 2 classes.
Mm-hmm.
You can always take classes in the summer if you feel like you really
Yeah.
want to stay on track. You have up to 7 years to complete your degree. And that is really important to know. Once you pass the 7-year mark, then you start losing some of your credits from the first semester. And so, but it is a good amount of time. And
Yeah.
our program typically takes 3 years. So you can do half and still finish barely in time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Yeah, 7
thank
years
you.
is plenty.
Yeah.
Yeah, right now we're labeled a face-to-face program, but since the pandemic, that's why Professor Rodriguez was talking about how we do have some classes online. We are in the process of considering changing to a hybrid program that isn't official yet, which means that we will continue kind of like in the pandemic where we have some classes online and some in person, but it wouldn't be possible at this point if we become hybrid to get a fully online experience. You might have to come to campus sometimes. So, yeah.
Okay, I see another question related to that. Are the classes available in Edinburgh or Brownsville?
That mainly Edinburgh. That's where most of us are based. We are the graduate classes. Yeah. So far, that is how it is. We're discussing the possibility of branching out to Brownsville a little bit more, but nothing's set yet. But again, for students who live closer to Brownsville than to Edinburgh, again, I'll say it's once a week. Also, there are a few online courses that we offer. But yeah, it's mainly based in Edinburgh. Am I right, Emmy?
Yes, and so since we have such a small faculty and our program began in Edinburgh, we are not required to make it a Brownsville program at this point. I so wish that we could get like tons more faculty and then have them based over there so that we could have classes on that beautiful campus. Right now we don't, and so we do have a couple of students from Brownsville, and sometimes they take the bus. And you know, they're on the bus and they're doing their work and they get to class and then they get back on the bus and go back home so that they can do their work while they're on the bus and not have to stress out. Yeah, so it is something that we wish that we could offer more of the classes over there. But I do want to say that all of our summer classes are typically online, all of them. So and we usually offer like 2 graduate classes per year online. So if you don't see any, there is an online class in the spring. There's a screenwriting class that's online synchronous, meaning that you join on Zoom on Thursday nights. So if you were to apply and get accepted, you could take that class in the spring online, fully online. And then we would be offering 2 additional graduate courses this summer online. So there's 3 online classes already. And then we'll have a few more throughout your time.
Thank you so much. I do see one last question here. Does your bachelor's have to be in English? I have an undergrad in communication, mass media, and 2 masters not related to writing or English in order to
No,
apply.
Right.
you don't
No,
need to.
no, not at all. Not at all. It doesn't have to be in English. Again, we'll look at your transcript, of course, and see what, generally whatever the transcript can tell us, of course, about your general qualities as a student and your general knowledge in your undergraduate program. But the main thing we're looking at is your writing sample, your personal statement, and your letters of recommendation. And from those three, the writing sample is the most important one. It makes sense, of course, if you have a bachelor's in English, you already have a background in literary study, and maybe you took some undergraduate creative writing courses, so you already have maybe something that you've already workshopped at the undergraduate level. So maybe that makes applying easier than if you have a degree, say, in biology or something. But it's not a requirement. It's not a requirement. No, we accept people from different backgrounds.
Yeah, especially what we're looking at, as Jose mentioned, is the writing sample. And so, yeah, if you're even a biology major, you might write like amazing poems about plants and animals and, like with so much beauty and detail.
Of course. Well, I don't see any other questions. Would you like to add something else before ending this webinar?
I want to mention that we sometimes also offer hybrid courses once in a while. And so those classes have limited meeting times in person. And so that's another thing to think about. Sometimes they meet half the times once a week in the whole semester, and then the other half is online. So I do think that there's some flexibility for the students. But yeah, eventually there will have to be some residence component at this point.
Thank you. Okay, perfect. Professor Rodriguez, something else that you'd like to add?
No, I think I'm good. Thank you for this. Thank you all for showing up.
Yeah, thank you all so much. Thank you.
Of course. No, thank you everyone for having or taking time of your day to join us today. I hope you really find this really helpful. If you have any questions, I'm just gonna leave this contact information right here. Take a screenshot. If you need help with anything, let us know, contact us, and we'll be more than happy to assist you. And thank you, Professor Perez, Professor Rodriguez, for being here, for taking time of your day. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. Have a good one.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Be well.
Bye.
Bye-bye.